Hello everyone, my name is Kayla Malone. Welcome back to my channel. And today's case is not only a more so recent one, but another one that is also not very talked about. And I'm honestly shocked that this one's not really talked about. And this is a case that takes place in Palm Beach, Florida, which is actually where I live pretty much half the year with my boyfriend. So it's a local case to me. And it also involves a very popular brand that you may know. And again, I'm honestly surprised that this isn't a bigger story. So 54-year-old Michael Troy Hutto, who is one of the co-founders to a very popular Florida brand called Salt Life, was arrested in October 2020 after 18-year-old Lora Duncan was found dead in their hotel room. Yeah, there's a lot for us to talk about in this case. So let's go back and start a few days before this all happened. From what I gathered, Lora, who liked to go by her middle name Grace, so I'm going to be calling her Grace throughout the story, Grace and her family lived in Lake City, Florida, which if you don't know the geography of Florida is near Jacksonville. Now, Lake City is nowhere near Singer Island where this crime is going to be taking place. It's actually a 4.5-hour drive down to Singer Island from Lake City. And I know people are going to argue this, yes, at 18 you're a legal adult, but I just find this all very strange and it seems very inappropriate, if anything, and very sketchy and a huge red flag. But other than that, I just don't understand why an 18-year-old was going 4.5 hours away and was actually heading farther than that, we'll find out, with a 54-year-old man. Now, I have my theories on this and I will discuss them a little bit later. To increase the kind of ick factor on this story, it turns out from all reported sources that Grace was dating Michael. And this is what most interested me in this case. Why would a beautiful young 18-year-old girl be off with a 54-year-old man that looks like this? Now, I don't know if I'm being too harsh. Considering everything that happened, I think it's justified. From what I also read, her parents were very upset with this, but they were even more than upset when Grace left their Lake City home. She left, they keep saying, with an unknown person. Either way, she ended up with Michael somehow in Palm Beach County, and she apparently was heading to the Keys to hang out with friends. Now, there's no information on who these friends were, when they were going to do that, but either way, she ended up leaving for the weekend to go hang out and ended up with Michael. So, and as far as I could gather, she left on like the Friday or the weekend, but we're gonna jump ahead to Monday, October 26th, so a few days later. That day, the Columbia County Sheriff's Office received a call from Grace's father requesting a welfare check on his daughter. And this was all done because, as far as her parents know, she had left with Michael, or she was with Michael, and they did not like that. And it got even more concerning when her father received some very strange communication. Her father told police that Michael was giving her drugs and keeping her sedated. Her father also said that the last time that he spoke to Grace, she sounded, and I quote, out of character, and that she was on drugs. And then sometime after that communication, Grace goes completely radio silent and completely stops responding to their texts and calls, which, as we've learned from many other cases, is a huge red flag. It means nothing good. Okay, so her parents are worried, as they should be, and they put in this welfare check. Well, her father decides he's gonna continue to try to find her himself. Well, her father ended up tracing her phone and immediately called up the detectives in Columbia County that were working on her case so that he could give them the information. When he traced her phone, it showed that her location was at the Hilton Oceanfront Resort on Singer Island, which is a really nice place, and for perspective is just north of Palm Beach, which is also a very nice area. So because it's showing that her phone is not in the district that the Columbia County Police Department's in, they end up contacting the department that serves that area down in Singer Island, and they end up asking them to perform the welfare check on Grace. Then finally, on October 29th, the police arrive at the hotel and they end up finding Grace dead from a gunshot wound to her abdomen in a hotel room there. But there is no one else in the hotel room. But they do end up finding Michael's cell phone, wallet, and ID in there. So immediately an alert is put out to police to be looking for his vehicle because it looks like he has fled the scene. And so the biggest question is, where is Michael? Well, way back up north in Jacksonville, police get a call that a man is passed out in his car suffering from a drug overdose, and he's parked illegally near a gas station. So police show up, they take this man to the hospital, and he is described as twitching, making delusional comments, and crying with his eyes rolled back in his head. So after Grace was shot, which we'll get to in a moment, it seems that Michael ran out of the hotel room, got in his car, and just kept driving until his car ran out of gas. And his car ended up running out of gas somewhere near this gas station in St. Augustine, which is near Jacksonville. So police ended up finding this man, aka Michael, and they're dealing with this erratic man who is saying all these crazy things, not knowing that it's connected to Grace's murder all the way down in Palm Beach area. But according to police and EMTs, this man, aka Michael, kept saying, "Oh my God, I think I hurt my Gracie." It's amazing that he drove all the way from Singer Island up near Jacksonville completely strung out and did not injure someone else while driving his car in that state. Thankfully, the police up in Jacksonville and the police in Palm Beach ended up figuring out that these two things were related, and Michael was arrested before he could be released from the hospital. Okay, so Michael's arrested, but what the hell happened? When police confronted Michael on what happened, he immediately started saying it was an accident. So what I'm gonna say next is Michael's version of the story. Obviously, Grace isn't here anymore to tell her version of the story, so all anyone's really working off is Michael's version, which is a little weird. And his version of the story is that they were headed to the Keys to meet up with friends, but clearly they made some kind of pit stop in Singer Island at this hotel. Earlier that day, they had spent some time at the beach, and then they went to their hotel room. And once they were in the room, they were pretending to shoot each other with finger guns, like pew pew pew. Like, what? Like, dude, I hate to break it to you, but finger guns can't kill people. But then Michael continues to say that Grace was sitting on the bathroom counter where he pointed a gun at her and shot her. He then put the gun in his backpack and he took off, which is corroborated by surveillance cameras at the hotel, which see him running off with the backpack on. So he didn't help her. The bizarre thing I'd like to know about this case is the toxicology report. I'm just gonna let Danny Smith explain this for a second. He is a retired homicide detective. His opinion on that situation, I think, is very important.
Toxicology is going to be really, really important to know what was in her body at the time of her death. She might have been so far out of it that there's no way they were playing this game that he alleges they're playing, because quite frankly, you don't die being shot in the abdomen. It doesn't, you don't just fall over and die. So, without knowing what the crime scene looks like, did she ever get up off the ground or off the bed or wherever it was that they found her, or did she just lay there and die without trying to reach a phone or crawl to the door? It's very different than being shot in the head or in the heart or taking a fatal shot. And so that's really puzzling to me. And I just wonder how far out of it, how badly had she been drugged? And, was it the date rape drug that he was using on her? I don't know. But that's really important because, they're looking at it as a manslaughter, and it's all based on his story, and his story doesn't make sense.
So as I would have thought too, he claimed that a gunshot wound to the abdomen doesn't instantly kill you. So that would mean that after Grace was shot in that hotel room, she was alive for quite a long while after. So that leads me to ask, were they really that strung out on drugs that she was not able to call for help after Michael left? Or did he shoot her and then somehow lock her in the bathroom or hold her down so she couldn't call for help? I would really like to know. I just have so many questions about this. Ultimately, he never called for help, and if he had of, Grace could still be alive right now. So Michael was taken back to the Palm Beach County Jail, and he was charged with manslaughter and 1 count of displaying a weapon. And in my opinion, he should have been charged for murder. If anything, 2nd-degree murder. And either way, his bond was set at $225,000. The thing that is not surprising with all of this is that Michael actually does have past arrests, and those are drug and alcohol charges. So he took a plea for a DUI in 2014, and he was only sentenced to 6 months probation for that. And then he also took a plea on a marijuana charge back in 2001, but the marijuana charge I could care less about. It's 2021 and marijuana's everywhere. And yeah, that's all the information that's really out about this case, considering everything. I know Salt Life put out a statement that they offer their condolences to the family, and they obviously aren't going to want to be taking credit or have this associated with their brand, but one of the co-founders of their brand ended up doing this, so that's kind of hard. I know 100% that there is some kind of Salt Life apparel in this home right now, and I see Salt Life everywhere in Florida. I see stickers on people's cars, I see people wearing the clothing, and it's just a huge brand here, and it's just crazy that a co-founder of this company would do something like this. But also at the same time, it's not surprising. So my big theory about all of this, now again, this is just my opinion, to why Grace was dating this man, is that Michael was Grace's sugar daddy. Now, it may not have been the case, but I really think it may be. I really don't see any other reason that this beautiful 18-year-old girl would be with this 54-year-old man. And I know what happens, I don't normally judge anyone. Do what you want to do. But I really think this might be the case with this, especially since he was taking her clearly to very nice hotels. They were going to go to the Florida Keys. I just don't see this being a normal relationship. I think nowadays, especially I've seen a lot on TikTok, people are romanticizing this whole idea of having a sugar daddy, and that honestly sits very badly with me because it really is not all fun and games. I've actually had firsthand experience with sugar daddies. I have an ex-friend that had a sugar daddy that actually ended up threatening to kill us, and honestly I could have ended up like Grace. Now, he threatened to kill us and thankfully he did not. Maybe I'll do a video about that one day if you guys are interested, but I'm no longer friends with her. But she did have sugar daddies, and I ended up going to New York to visit her with her and the sugar daddy, and it was not a positive experience, that's for sure. And all of her stories with these sugar daddies were never positive ones. I really do hate when people on social media romanticize this idea of having a sugar daddy to these young girls, especially with a girl this young, because I really do not think that it's something to be romanticized. It is not what it seems on social media. Most of the time, you're not just going to a restaurant for an hour or two with these men and then they're giving you $2,000. And saying that, I'm sure there are people out there that are happily in sugar daddy, sugar baby relationships. I'm not saying it's every single one, but I'm saying I think the majority of the time, and from my experience of like the cold hard reality truth of it all, is that it is not as romanticized as they make it seem online. Now, on the other scale of things, I have seen a lot of other people's opinions online on this case, and it seems that everyone else is kind of comparing this case to Jeffrey Epstein, of course, because that is a big thing in West Palm Beach. Now, this is not my opinion. This is other people's opinions, and this is completely alleged, but they're saying that because she was 18 and he was 54, they're bringing up a lot of ideas of trafficking, and they think that she was possibly being trafficked. Could be a really good theory in this case, but I, again, am swinging more towards maybe the sugar baby daddy kind of situation on this. But I'd really hate to think that he was attempting to traffic her, or he was. But again, according to her father, she was heavily drugged. So this is a little bit of a heavy case, but that is pretty much all of the available information on that. This did happen back in October, and there really isn't much information even now. As far as I know, Michael is pleading not guilty, which seems to be the running theme of these cases. If you have any information on this case or I've missed anything, please comment it down below. If you're not subscribed to me, please hit that subscribe button. I upload true crime videos weekly on this channel. If you want to see me more every day, you can definitely go subscribe to my main channel where I post lifestyle content. I know this is a bit of a shorter one. If you're looking to watch some more true crime videos, I have a bunch more. I definitely recommend going and checking them out. With that, I will see you in the next video.
Mm-hmm.